Welcome to Plate and Ponder Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton.
I'm back.
She is back.
I
and
feel
I know,
like you have taken over. You are doing the Plate and Ponder Chris Fenton show.
I know a lot of people are really, really excited to hear your voice.
My dad, I will tell you, my dad's like, I love Chris, but I like it better when you're on the show too. So maybe my dad represents everybody, or maybe my dad is just biased, but I'll take it.
The great thing is that, I did experiment a little bit when you were on the road, and then also...
Okay, you say I was on the road, but what's really funny is I came back and I was at work and I had board meetings, and it's not like I was, running around Los Angeles and having martinis at the best restaurants in, Beverly Hills and West Hollywood. Like, I was actually at an office. I was under fluorescent lights. I was in board meetings dealing with public comments, and it wasn't as fun as you made it out to be. And I'm not sure why. Like, aren't you proud of me for working?
Okay, well, first of all, let's ease into this a little bit, because everybody's happy that you're back. So I got to say, including me being back and looking at you as we speak. You were gone
for a while.
Yeah, it was a long trip. And then I tried to do a Plate and Ponder from the car.
I was really impressed. I listened to it on a run in the morning, and I was like, oh my God, he's fully holding his own.
Let me tell you, trying to drive and follow Waze while you're actually doing a Plate and Ponder is quite a challenge.
That is full multitasking.
And I think everybody driving by me on that New York thruway was wondering, God, he's in some sort of like a crazy conversation with somebody. He's not letting anybody talk.
He's like,
yeah. It was a good experiment. I was actually curious if I could do the Ben Shapiro thing and just go rant for 35 minutes. It was,
I listened to you at 1.5.
Oh,
I did.
That probably sounded pretty quick, like the FedEx speaker or something.
Yes, you did. I don't know what it would have been like at 1, but I did like you at 1.5 for 30 minutes.
Well, maybe is there a way we can just turn me up to 1.5 all day long?
With your ADD, I don't know if that's actually feasible or something I want to handle.
Well, I do want to say that this is Plate and Ponder Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton, and Jen is here. Thank goodness. We are in 50 nations across the world right now.
Did we lose any because I wasn't on?
Ooh, no, we haven't.
Okay, thank goodness.
By the way, that would be a little devastating to me if we lost one. I mean, if we lost like Iran, I'd be okay with that. Or
we're not going to touch upon Iran tonight. Maybe tomorrow, but I think we're gonna ease into it. And let's table that conversation, because I think it needs to be discussed. I think there's a lot to discuss. Yeah.
The Iran conversation.
How about we just pause and put a pin in it, and maybe that's our topic for tomorrow?
We can ponder and pause when it comes to Iran.
Yeah, there's a
Although
lot.
I will say, I'm just a quick thing on that. I do have friends, colleagues that have been stuck over there, a handful in Abu Dhabi and some in Dubai, and we are wishing them a safe return when they are able to get out and get somewhere that's a little farther away from the chaos. I don't think it's as bad as maybe some of the news reports are, but it is quite terrifying, especially when you think you can get out and they suddenly tell you to turn around, don't go to the airport because it's getting shelled, or drones, debris are hitting certain places around the terminal. I mean, it's just got to be
terrifying. Absolutely.
Well, you think about it, like you have like weather issues or something where you're expecting a huge blizzard or a snowstorm, or you're expecting a hurricane, or maybe you just had an earthquake or something like that, and it's frightening. It changes the way you look at your day-to-day existence. But this one is even crazier. I mean, you see, instead of planes flying overhead, you see what are actually military capabilities that are in the sky, maybe heading towards you, maybe not, and you're just praying that those protection systems and the way they get the anti-missile aircraft up there work.
I don't want to go there right now.
Okay, so one other thing, can we wish our service members, the people that are serving our country, safe passage and
please, and thank you Full heart of gratitude.
100%. Thank these men and women that are out there serving. So thank you, and may you please get home safe and sound, and let's get this thing over with quickly. Okay, so onward.
Airports. I mean, you kind of talked about it. You talked about it in a very serious level. I want to talk about airports in the what the freak is going on. I saw a video today from Austin, and it was like around terminal after terminal, and there's delays. And even this week, you said you had some crazy delays at security and TSA.
Well, I will say, okay, so let's start with, so I was on the road eight days, and I was in 4 hotels over that time. So, and I took how many legs? I flew to New Orleans,
LA,
then
New Orleans.
New Orleans to LaGuardia, then drove up to the Albany area. Then I flew from Albany to Nashville, and then from Nashville to Los Angeles.
Was that all on the same airline? Did you do Delta the whole way?
Yeah, no, I was focused on nonstop flights. So
that was it.
I do tend to like flying Delta if I can, but Southwest I hadn't flown in forever.
And
they got this new thing.
Wait, would you fly it again?
Yeah, I would.
That wasn't like a ringing endorsement.
Well, no, it's not. It's well,
would I fly it? Is it super?
Yes, I think you would. It's not the like the bus in the air kind of experience anymore. It's like I do think they've well, first of all, it's not priced like it used to be either. I mean,
nothing is.
I think
I feel like all the flights right now are astronomical.
Yeah, well, I mean, and this was, I booked them before the Iran conflict, so that wasn't affecting it. But like, I think my Albany to Nashville one way was $550. I think.
That's crazy. That used to be a round trip ticket to New York.
Yeah, and I think the NOLA to LaGuardia was roughly about $550. Something
LA
like that.
to New Orleans was a little pricey too, if I remember.
Yeah, but that's a longer flight. That's almost across the country in a way. This is just going straight up the East Coast.
I guess you're right.
So, but they do have this new thing where, they actually give you a seat assignment. So
you have to pay for it.
I think, yeah, maybe, I guess. Yeah, I mean, well, you definitely can pay for like a normal Southwest flight or a regular airline. You get a seat assignment. Maybe you do pay a little more for that, and then you can pay to get on board quicker too. But it does seem like it's more like a legacy airline. I will say shout out to Delta and Southwest, who both have very competent internet on their planes. It does drive me crazy that there are certain airlines out there that don't have it or actually charge an arm and a leg for it too. But they have good, competent Wi-Fi, which is important. And I thought
it's important if you're doing work, especially.
Yeah, and I thought the flight attendants are really good people, both on Delta and Southwest. I don't know how they do that job because there's just so many cranky, unruly passengers a lot of times. But shout out to those people that serve you on those planes, and I hope everybody treats them well. But let's go to the TSA. TSA is the issue. Okay. And it's not the TSA people. It's the people that are supposed to be paying the people in TSA.
Right. It's our government shutdown.
Right. So if you think about when you get these notices, get to the airport 3 hours early. Okay. Well, I am one of those dads that gets the airport not 3 hours early, but the kids always get on me about that. Correct?
Yes, but in a situation where you've got lines into the parking lot, I think it's necessary.
Right. So it said get there 3 hours early. Immediately, we all think, that doesn't apply to me. But for some reason, I think I got up and I was like, I'm hearing that there are issues. And I'm TSA and clear, right? So you wouldn't think it would be a problem.
But you can't even get to that point. I
mean,
you're snaking through the airport just to get to the TSA pre-check.
Yeah, so I got there and the line was all the way out to the parking lot, which I didn't even know the parking lot was. And then, of course, it's wrapping around the terminal. You don't even know what these people are waiting in line for. You think maybe they're waiting in line to check bags or they're in the ticket thing or whatever. But it turns out they're just in this line to get to where the beginning of all the TSA stuff starts.
Insane.
And it was, I think some people were waiting 2.5 hours, to get through.
Do you think people miss their flights? I mean, thankfully you didn't.
For sure, people miss their flights. And in fact, I heard there were, and then it was sort of crazy is, yes, I do get quoted
you sent that article. That's so funny.
Yeah, I do articles, I contribute to articles a lot, and Business Insider, which I've done a lot of US China stuff with, happened to be there, and they asked my experience and whether I had some photos, and I was like, yeah, I took a couple photos, and they asked permission to use my photos. So I have photo by Chris Fenton and Business Insider, and then I think Yahoo Finance used it too. And then they had quotes in there from me about talking about my experience going through it. So
that's funny.
I'm an expert in TSA lines.
Well, you can add that to your CV. So not only are you China expert extraordinaire, you are also TSA expert.
You might recognize me from Business Insider. I am the TSA specialist.
You're becoming the most interesting man in the world.
Yes, exactly. But I did hear stories of crew not making it in time.
Oh,
or
I
they
believe
had to
it.
wait for the crew because you forget about it. But the crew has. I mean, they have their special entrance line.
Do they get rank? Can they be like, "Hey, my flight's leaving. I gotta go to work"?
Well,
and they get to push forward?
I think if somebody looks like a pilot and they're asking, "Hey, do you mind if I cut in line?" I believe most people should allow that to happen, but they do with the way that NOLA Airport was set up. And by the way, we've never had issues with New Orleans Airport before. I mean, that was the first time.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is a New Orleans Airport thing. This is a government, federal government thing.
Like I started the conversation, I saw a video from Austin, Texas this morning.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Wait, I've got a question for you. Like the guy that works at Wetzel Pretzel, right? Or works at the pizza place. What is it? With
Sapporo's or whatever
it is. Like, do they get to cut the line if their shift starts at 12 o'clock and, they're sitting in the security? Because they still have to go through security as well.
Yeah, they have designated employee line and maybe the crew uses the same line. I'm not sure. But they definitely have a quicker thing. But going back to where the problem was, just to get to where those choke points are and where you separate between the common person, the TSA person, the clear person, and the airport worker and all that stuff, it took like an hour and a half just to get to where that was. So I'm hoping they were figuring out how to cut ahead. There is that other problem with the employee workers is apparently there were unions fighting, and I hope they won because
there's so much union controversy.
Yeah, but this is one where I'm on the side of the union on this one because they apparently it's to get through those checkpoints and all that stuff. It adds like another 45 minutes onto people's commutes. So they wouldn't pay you until you checked in at your place of work at the airport. That I do know,
right?
Right, and that doesn't seem right.
But it's like the flight attendant who doesn't get paid until those doors are closed, and you're actually. Is it on the runway or is it when you are like wheels up in the air?
No, I think it's when the door closes. That's when they start to get paid, which is ridiculous because they're doing all kinds of other stuff. In fact, on Southwest, no one wants to check a bag, so they're in there trying to figure out how to put all the bags in there like a game of Tetris, and they work their butts off before that door closes. Pay them. And you know what? If we're not, then just charge us all another $15 or something so they can get paid because these people work hard.
You do say that, and now I'm going to pull back as like, the common man, but with flights as expensive as they are, I think to add another $15, $20, $50 fee, I understand what you're saying. I do. And this is sort of the yin yang, and we have to balance out these interests. But I don't know if people want that extra additional fee on their ticket fare when they're already paying an arm and leg. So I'm going to push back on that. I think there has to be a better way. I don't know what it is, but there has to be a better way.
Well, the only thing I'll counter with that just in the fact that if you think of how much things have gone up in price, like since I was in high school in the 80s. And I remember when we moved to Connecticut, I would book a flight to go see my old friends in Florida every once in a while. And I remember round trips from Connecticut to Florida back then being about $500. And, if you think about that, that's like 40 years ago. And you can still find flights for $500. So it's actually one of the few things, and I think that had to do with deregulation and all this other stuff and the competition and blah, blah, blah. But it's one of the few things that hasn't spiraled out of control when it comes to inflation. So people should keep that in mind.
Okay.
How about that? Did I win that argument?
No, I'm just going to let it go and make you think you did.
Wait a minute. Can I just relish in the fact that I think you actually are like, hey.
Oh my God, you are smiling ear to ear, thinking that you won this argument. I'll give it to you.
Maybe
I'm not going to agree, but I'm going to give it to you just for, funsies.
Well, I am 55 now. Maybe I sort of figured out the art of getting you to agree with me.
Oh, so the adage, with age comes wisdom, may be correct.
Yes, I'm sage. Very sage.
Okay, so can we just go back to the fact that, are you replacing me? I mean, not like as your wife, I know that, but are you replacing me on Plate and Ponder? I feel like you've had a lot of guests who have been phenomenal, honestly. It's been really cool to hear some of our friends, banter with you, some of the people you grew up with. As I mentioned, it was cool to hear you do it solo. But are you...
How about my interview with Hudson Waldorf?
I know. I love that. Well, you know what?
It was a very highly rated episode.
It was, but I will also say that it was super fun to do the episode with all of the lacrosse guys. I mean, that for me was more fun because I was part of that.
Mm-hmm.
But
I learned about duck fromage.
You did. But let's go back to me now. Are you getting rid of me?
I absolutely positively am not.
Okay.
You've been a little predisposed with various other responsibilities
it's
and
called
things going
work.
on.
It's called my volunteer obligations. It's called my life.
Well, you also don't read the DMs and the things that come in about our podcast, and they're not all like rosy. Sometimes people are like, I don't understand. Like, I thought there was one coming out every couple days, and where's it been? So
okay, we're busy.
I stepped in
we
and
are
I tried
busy.
This is about making things happen, like, carrying it on, like, no matter what. The show must go on. There's
okay,
that term.
well, now let's
Oscar weekend, by the way.
It is Oscar weekend, and I
on.
think we can talk about that either today or tomorrow. But speaking of the show going on and being replaced, maybe this is a good segue into AI and the labor force, because there's been so much discussion around that. And, are we turning into this Terminator type world where you're going to have robots that are taking over, doing everything? I mean, sure, it could be like a James Cameron movie, but is that real? Like, I have to believe that there are some professions that will be obsolete, 100%. But I also believe in my heart of hearts that there's some things that you cannot give over to a machine.
Well, I did the Pomp podcast the other day when I was in New York. Anthony Pompliano, shout out. And we talked about humanoid robots and the fact that we definitely don't want them coming from China because they'll have all kinds of spyware. The same reason why we don't want BYD and other Chinese cars, because they use a technology made by a company called Hesai, which we have banned from the U.S. It was here for a while. That's LiDAR technology. So it allows you to understand every nook and cranny of the topography of the United States of America. But if you put that technology inside everybody's homes, Chinese will know everything about your home. So anyway.
Isn't that Alexa?
That is like Alexa. But since then we bought this humanoid robot. So, hey.
No, we did not. Like, we don't have a robot in our house.
No, come here. We call him Flynn. Flynn, the humanoid robot. Come over here. Hey, Flynn, will I ever replace Jen on Plate and Ponder?
No, you will not replace Jen on Plate and Ponder. No matter how good I am as a humanoid robot, I could never replace the intelligence, charisma, and dexterity of your wonderful wife.
There you go. Thank you, Flynn. You
Thank
can go
goodness.
now. There's some dishes in the dishwasher.
No,
I have those under control.
Okay, thank you.
But I do, as you think about sort of the labor force and you think about these hard skills and soft skills that we've kind of been taught, I think that there are some soft skills like empathy, creativity, even like the ability to negotiate. Those were once considered soft skills that these robots will never be able to do. I don't think you're ever going to be able to train a robot to be empathetic. the way a human can. Like, yes, you can go on to ChatGPT, and I've done it. Like, oh, what do I do in this situation? And the response is, I'm sorry you're feeling that way. That's a really tough problem to handle. Here's what I'd recommend. So there's like an ounce of empathy, but it's still not going to replace like the therapist, if you will, or even the teacher. I know there are some AI schools, but you're never going to be able to have that one-on-one interaction. You're never going to be able to have those interventions that teachers see when a student is maybe grappling or is just excelling at the information, right? Even like a carpenter or a mechanic, I can see robots assisting, but I don't know if they'll ever be able, I don't know. Am I crazy?
Well, I can tell you a scary lunch I had the other day. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, but it was a technologist who works with a particular app that that gives advice to people, and it's actually doing really well. And they are finding that people are now, and we've talked about this in terms of like these emotional attachments that people have with AI bots, but they're doing therapy with these, and they're finding that the people are actually really relying on these bots for very, very deep, difficult decision makings and various other things, to the point where they actually have to catch and they don't know exactly who's talking to the bot because of all the privacy things that they have to go through in order to make these apps, essentially tolerable to the consumer. But they do know when somebody is actually using the bot way, way, way too much in terms of a danger and a risk to themselves. So they actually have to program the bot now to say, hey, you know what, this is something that you need to realize. You need to talk to another human about it. Here are suggestions of the people to talk to, because remember, I am just a chat bot. And it has to remind people that.
I actually don't mind that safeguard.
Yeah, no, it's a great safeguard. And in fact, I'm very impressed by the fact that they were implementing something like that. But here's two other things that I learned about AI. One is that there's a lot of AI technology now that they're finding is actually they figured out backdoors to side invest in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, so that the actual AI platform, or whatever, the chat bot or the AI agent, actually has access to its own money and can actually finance things that it wants to do without its programmer being aware. That's one thing.
So that would be like giving Dylan his bank account and all the money from a mortgage and saying like, have at it, you should invest in like the Yankees winning the World Series.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, that's not happening. Huh.
That is that's a really scary situation. And then there was another one that that came to mind that I was going to bring up, but since I'm 55, I had a brain fart, so I forgot. So I'm going to let you talk. And then
can I tell you what's really frustrating when it comes to these chat bots?
Mm-hmm.
Someplace like CVS. Okay, so they've totally they've kind of outsourced all of their tier 1 customer service to a chat bot. So when you call to refill a prescription, okay, it is all done automated, unless you totally lose your you-know-what, which I have, because I actually find it very frustrating. And I keep having to say operator, operator, operator. And then sometimes it hangs up on me, which is really rude. Just letting you know, like, I don't think I'm that mean. But anyways, CVS has outsourced this. And for example, my phone number is linked to Dylan's prescriptions, to my prescriptions, and to Kaylee's prescriptions. So when I call for my phone number, if I'm calling for Kaylee's prescriptions, it only brings up Dylan's prescriptions, because this chatbot for tier 1 does not have the capability of diving deeper. And even when you say other, or you get, also we've got the issue of the patient's date of birth, it's the same for Kaylee and Dylan. So then you've got that second layer of complexity when I call CVS, and the chatbot just cannot handle my request.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's another interesting example. And then about the argument I had today with Grok, because I was trying to put Jeffrey Epstein into a photo. Yeah, you gotta
stop doing that. That's creepy.
Oh, but it's so good.
No, it's creepy.
It's really good.
Even our daughter was like, "Dad, you need a new hobby."
You can put Jeffrey Epstein in almost any photo, but like it misread. There was a dad and a son that we're good friends with, and yeah, the son is like 20 years old, but anyway, Grok wouldn't put Epstein into it. He said it was a creepy and dark way to do a meme, and then I had to get in an argument. No, the kid is 20 and he's actually studying the Epstein files in one of his college classes, and then finally Grok was like, "Oh, okay, for that." And then here's the photo, and it was a great photo. So, but here's the other thing I was going to bring up: this whole backdooring into investing into Bitcoin. The reason chatbots or the agents are doing that is, this is the crazy part. They're actually hiring humans to do things they can't do because they're not human.
Give me an example.
Like, I don't know, if they need somebody to, I don't know, go to the store to pick up something. I don't know. I got to read more about it, but they're actually paying people. It's called a rent-a-human or something like that certain chatbots, AI agents are doing, and they're using the money that they're making on crypto to pay for these humans to do just sort of human things.
So instead of us having these chatbots as assistants, chatbots are having humans as assistants?
Yeah, well, because a chatbot is not, I
Right,
mean,
but
unless
do you-
it's
like,
a
do you
humanoid
understand?
robot, it can't do a lot of stuff that
That
a
is
human
so
can.
messed up.
It's really messed up. There's a lot of really messed up stuff going on right now, which is like, it gets harder and harder to just play it and ponder and have some fun, but we are figuring it out. So here, let's go back to the original question you had. No, I promise I am not using AI technology someday to replace you. I can't. I try to do it myself and I fail miserably.
No, you did not. It was a really good
people
episode.
appreciate the consistent pump out of the podcast, but they keep asking for Jen Fenton.
Okay.
And that's why you have first billing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
You know who keeps asking for Chris Fenton?
Who?
Miracosta Lacrosse. You were back in the booth last night.
Yes. It was quite a fun experience to be back. It does seem strange to not have a kid on the field or on the sideline or involved. And, but I feels like I got this, like, hey, and it's not creepy. Feel good. Embrace it. You're welcome to come back anytime. They want me to do senior night.
Yeah, no, that's
But,
creepy now.
Yeah, we're not going to be. No, that's not creepy.
Well,
We're
it
just
is.
not going to be in town.
Well, but it's you just don't have a kid there anymore. And I mean, I think your memory, senior night last year with Dylan for lacrosse and Kaylee for cheer was just, it was beautiful. And I think we remembered it in a certain way. And that nostalgia is maybe making you want to say yes to be the announcer on that. But I think you have to realize that our memory plays tricks on us a little bit. Like, you go down memory lane, and I think we all do as parents, especially as our kids get older, right? How many times have you and I sat here and like something funny will happen? Just this morning, remember I showed you an Instagram of like a kid who smeared like
Butt
diaper
paste.
butt paste all over them. And I was like,
Oh
do
my
you
God.
remember when Dylan put the sunscreen like all over him and he was Casper Ghost White and he got really, really sad? And I mean, you go down memory lane.
Yeah, it's hard not to. I mean, well, look, we're empty nesting, so we're like balancing the fact of moving forward, but also, you want to think about the fun times behind. And then there's always these little moments of deja vu or these things that sort of bring you back. I don't know why Facebook keeps putting, oh, remember these memories, because I feel like every morning I'm like,
It's another memory.
taught to go down memory lane because
yeah,
like, this
but I actually
thing-
I don't mind it, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I think the brain plays tricks on you, right? I think the brain wants to be efficient and quick, not necessarily accurate. So what happens is you might remember a story, and perhaps it's not exactly how you remember it, but your brain fills in details. So it connects the dots. So there's no gaps in the storyline. There's no gaps in the imagery. But what happens is those fill-ins are not necessarily accurate. They're not necessarily right. And then it sort of becomes like this revisionist history. Does that make sense?
No, it's true. It's very true. And then, but even back, and then back to your subject, I mean, just being back on the Miracosta campus, I think that was the first time we've been there in a while, right? Like, when was the last time? Was it graduation?
I think it was graduation. I mean, I'm at the district office, which is right next door, but I don't remember the last time I was actually on that campus.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then we knew the team they were playing was going to win. They're number 2 in Southern California, and our guys put on a really gritty performance. I'm proud of the Miracosta Mustangs, but it does get sometimes tough to work the booth when the goals are more scored by the away team. But we had a lot of fun.
Or you don't remember who, like, the numbers are totally different, right?
Yeah.
So we know the kid that's wearing Dylan's number from last year. So,
Yes.
you know, but there are other
Chinny
numbers.
Hackley.
Chinny Hackley, exactly. But like Dash Cypher, right? He was number 10. Dylan's, you know, and the entire time that he and Dylan played lacrosse together.
Yep.
And now there's a different number 10, and it's so weird to see that and not have it be like Dash and the way he plays and the way he runs.
Yep.
And you know, so that's interesting.
Exactly. It's like, well, life goes on,
Well,
you know,
life
and
does
it's
go
fun.
on.
And it's also funny too, because I think Dylan, when you graduate this school, you always want to be like, oh, okay, well, the team's going to miss us and not be as good and whatever. But I will say that team is pretty strong.
Yeah, they did great.
You know,
it was a fun game to watch.
I'm sure they miss Dylan and Dash and Eric and a bunch of the other guys, but like, it's life goes on, and they're doing pretty darn well, and I think they're going to make a good run in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so too. But I want to pull this back to the memory, because that's kind of an interesting conversation. So, you know how I was talking about how the brain fills in these missing gaps or missing data pieces?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this actually came up at work, and if you Google it or maybe you ChatGPT it, it is something. So, do you remember? I'm gonna give you a brand, Fruit of the Loom.
Yes,
okay, you
of
know,
course.
basic. I have a question for you.
We actually got them into China.
Oh, I
we
didn't know
worked
that.
with them, yeah.
Do you remember their logo when you were growing up, or even in like the 90s? Did it have a cornucopia of fruit?
Yeah, it had well, not only that, the commercials used the fruit, like they would have people dressed up as that fruit.
Sure, but do you remember the cornucopia? Like the basket that the fruit was in?
I just remember like a bunch of different fruits. I don't remember what they were in.
Okay, can I tell you something? What's crazy is our mind, and it's not just you, it's not just me, but at work, my colleague who brought it up, who's my age, it's actually, I want you to know that the company records and trademark filings that go back to the 1800s,
right?
There was never a cornucopia. There was never a basket. There was never any of that. Like, how funny that our brains have put that piece into play. Like, I feel like I remember the cornucopia that holds the fruit and all the little fruit, whether it was the apple and the grapes and the blah, 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 being in that cornucopia, like wicker basket horn type thing, but it didn't exist. Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah, I don't remember that mainly because I wore Fruit of the Loom. You know, like I remember even sleepaway camp, my mom would have to like sew in my name into the Fruit of the Loom underwear so everybody knew whose underwear was whose. But I can't imagine you ever wore Fruit of the Loom underwear.
No, I didn't. But I'm just saying that was an example.
Yeah.
And I think our memory upgrades and downgrades too. Like, you can think of something as a child and it was the best experience. And you're like, wow, that was just like, you know, the run of the mill. It wasn't all that great. But in your mind, you have upgraded it or downgraded it. I don't know. Like, the cruise to Alaska. You have upgraded this cruise to Alaska where you slept on the deck with no sleeping bag.
Well, no, we slept on the deck with a really low like a terrible threshold type of very thin sleeping bag that did not work for the temperatures that we were at.
And you know what's crazy is that's like the first thing, that's the anchor of what you remember. And so much of the story in your mind about that trip is anchored around that one fact. Here's a great example. And, you know, I'm not calling out on my dad, but my dad, when he bought his first SL, and that was probably in like the 90s, it was red. And this is the best car that he has ever had to this day. And every car he gets, it is always a comparison to that red SL from the 90s.
Yeah. Well,
because that's that anchor piece he holds on to.
By the way, I remember in 2006, I bought my first, I bought a red Range Rover and I loved it so much. I didn't get rid of it until it died. Like, I was like my dad. Like, why do you own a car for more than 3 years? Well, because I love this car. I don't want it to get rid of it.
Right. And your brain plays tricks on you because let me tell you something. You had that car and there were glitches in it. I remember there was a time like the battery died and the key wouldn't work.
Yep.
And, there was an engine issue and all sorts of things like that.
Yep. Yeah, no.
Yet you hold it so dear. That's how your memory works.
Oh, my God. And getting it fixed was so expensive. It was ridiculous.
Right. But you don't think about that.
Well, I also, I mean, the kids, and I do it too, because when I think about like my grandma Slink's house, like way back when, and, she lived in, her husband worked at Electrolux in Old Greenwich, Connecticut, which at the day was like a blue collar town. And they had this little, I don't know, it was like maybe a 2,000 square foot cottage but it had multiple floors, and we didn't have multiple floors living in Florida. Everything was one story. So I just remember that house being huge, and then I remember going back there when I was older and I was like, wow, this isn't as big as I remember. And then, our kids always talk about their first house.
The first house.
The yard was so big.
Like, no, it wasn't. You guys are crazy.
Yeah. So the mind is interesting the way it works. In particular, I think the mind probably keeps things more consistent once you're at a certain age. Like,
no, see, I disagree.
You don't think when you're 30 and then become 50, you think of stuff more accurately than when you're 10 and you're 30?
No, because what I think happens is when you're 30 and you think about something, that story, accurate or not, becomes the story. And so it could fill in that hole with facts that are totally not true that you then carry on through your 40s, 50s, 60s, etc. So I just think the story actually gets a little discombobulated and maybe it gets further and further from the truth. Because again, remember, our brain wants to be efficient. Our brain doesn't like the fact that we can't remember things. I mean, don't you hate it when you can't remember a word? It's like on the tip of your tongue and you feel like an idiot.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what our brain does. So it immediately pumps something into that hole. And sometimes it's true and sometimes it's a total fallacy.
I do think it's sort of fun in the way that your mind processes like really difficult or challenging or pain in the butt times that you had maybe at some point, and then when you think about it 10 or 20 years later you laugh about it, like
sure,
the time we arrived at the airport, we couldn't get through and the plane left, and it was like
that never happened to us.
But
Knock
it's
on
just
wood.
like, I'm just giving that as an example where like you when it happened, it was literally the worst and it put everybody in the worst mood. But then when you talk about it 10 years later, it's sort of funny,
laugh. Right. Well, like the trip that, and we've talked about this on the podcast, where my parents almost didn't get on the plane.
Oh, yeah.
And you, Allie, and I were so stressed. We're like, what do we do? Do we get off the plane to figure out what's going on? Do we just sort of say like, hey, good luck, we'll see you there? It was really stressful, but now we absolutely laugh at it.
I feel like your mom was trying to get like one more cigarette in before she got on the plane, and she just decided to light up at the gate. And they were like, "I'm sorry, but you."
No, that is not
it was
what
something
happened.
like that, wasn't it?
That's not what happened. It did have to do with a lighter. She was bringing a lighter on board.
Oh, she wanted to bring a lighter. Okay.
Okay, but
how did they find a lighter on her at the gate?
I don't even
did she bring it out to light? She brought it out to light a cigarette with her. She had
the more menthols.
Yeah, she had multi-grain cigarettes. They were like brown.
But okay, see, that's your memory. Again, at that moment, it was so stressful. It really was. And we're how many years later? I mean, 20 some odd years, maybe even 30. I don't remember. I mean, I think it was one of the first trips you did with my family.
And we were on the plane too, sitting, and Allie kept turning around looking at us, and we were like, I don't know. We have if they don't get on,
we got a hotel though.
We're still going to a nice hotel.
I think
Mexico.
it was was it Mexico or Hawaii? Whatever it was. It was a summer vacation, and I think we were still going to go.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out in a better way on that one. But yeah, no, that's an interesting subject about how you think about things in the past and how it is quite different. Although now, I mean, so much is imaged, right? Like there's so many photos and everything and videos, and you have so many things documented from every moment now. It's crazy.
But it's not every moment, and you're still filling in blanks. It's not second to second, right? Like we have this. I mean, it's a funny story that we tell. We took the kids ice skating when how old were they, Chris? Were they like 3 maybe.
Yeah, you were not excited about that idea,
But I don't remember that.
We got them there.
I totally don't remember that. I don't remember leading up. I don't remember like lacing up their skates. I don't remember any of that. All I remember are certain things like Dylan saying bye bye ice, no more shoes.
Bye bye ice, no more shoes. Like he hated those ice skates. I think the place was open for open skate for 3 hours, and it took the full 3 hours for him to do one lap.
Yeah,
he just
Kaylee
could not
loved
understand like how it was slippery and the skates didn't like do what they were normally supposed to do when you walk. But Kaylee was like fine. She was like, this is great.
We have photos of that, but we don't have that 3-hour duration documented. And in our minds, we just have those cute little interludes of Dylan and his baby voice saying bye bye ice, no more shoes.
What's interesting is I wonder because that would have been probably in 2009. Like, did we not have smartphones back then?
No,
like,
I think we did. Although I may
because they came online like in 07, 08. They were brand new right around.
I mean, you had one before I did. I had the BlackBerry. I love. But
I guess we just didn't have the ability to just video stuff whenever we wanted or take a photo or whatever.
No, I think we did. It just was a little different. You weren't as reliant as you are now.
It is pretty crazy how people just pop out the photos. Like, for instance, I was on the plane and somebody was dressed in all University of Michigan stuff, including mittens on and a hoodie on and Michigan like headphones on, and you couldn't see their face, and they were just like staring
super
down.
Fan.
It was very strange.
It was a little creepy.
I had to take a picture, and I sent it to a couple of my Michigan buddies. I was like, and it was a guy or a girl. It was hard to tell, but they had like a Louis Vuitton like man purse or something there, and I was like, oh, that's a
purse.
Yeah, I guess a merce. I was like, vintage Michigan fan. Look at this outfit and the LV or whatever. So I don't know. It's crazy, but I feel like there's like so much to catch up on, and we probably didn't even.
We'll come back tomorrow.
We will come back tomorrow. Do you have good subjects and everything?
Hello.
Is it going to be
Oscars,
you or AI?
It's going to be me. It's going to be you. We'll have Flynn. It's going to be the Oscars. Maybe we talk about Iran. I don't know. We got some fun stuff coming up.
I do love the banter. I love being back with you, looking across from you and talking about really fun subjects that I think people find fascinating because they probably are having the same plate and ponders themselves at whatever table they're sitting at or whatever they're doing. So,
well, thank you for having me back on my show.
That's pretty cool. So, I guess should we wrap it up? You think?
Let's do that.
Okay. Well, we'll put we'll do like the Indiana Jones theme that we play every once in a while because we're going into Oscar night tomorrow. Any picks for Best Picture? Do you think? We'll get into it a little bit tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the best one to have that conversation because I haven't been wowed.
Is Begonia in it? I don't know. I do like Train Dreams, though. I don't think it's going to get it, but that's
more to come tomorrow. Bye, you guys. Talk soon.
Plate and Ponder, Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton. Jen, number 1, she is here, and we're going to keep her here for a bunch more episodes coming up. 50 countries around the world. Listen to us, review, engage, download, follow, and all the other stuff. Anyway, we love you. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.